Hello, guys. Nice to meet you all, guys. And I'm Grace. I'm so glad to meet you again. This is the weekly crypto TV show hosted by Gate. Yeah, and we will interpret the latest crypto hotspot for you this week and helping you not to miss any major events. And don't forget to claim the red packets while watching the live stream. And in this episode, we will look at the recently popular Bitcoin spot ETF and the recursive inscription on the Bitcoin ordinals ecology. Okay, recently the topic of Bitcoin ETF has been hot, and the entry of Wall Street funds has directly driven up the price of Bitcoin. And on June 16th, BlackRock, one of the world's largest asset management groups, submitted a document application for a spot Bitcoin ETF to the US SEC. It arouses great concern in the English community. According to the application documents, the ETF is named A-Shares Bitcoin Trust, and its assets are mainly composed of Bitcoins and held on behalf of the trust custodian, while the custodian is implemented through the custody of Coinbase. To add here, BlackRock is the largest asset management company in the world, with more than 10 trillion in asset under management. The political power of the company and its CEO, Larry Fink, may compete with that of the SEC's leader, Gary Gensler. And Larry Fink has a deep political connection and background, because in 2016 he was also considered by the public to be the US Treasury Secretary designate after Hillary Clinton was elected US President. Therefore, the topic of Bitcoin ETF has attracted a lot of attention recently. And to start, let me first explain to you what is a Bitcoin spot ETF. Okay, so the full name of ETF is Exchange Traded Fund. The original intention of the fund is to simplify the investment process for ordinary investors. Everyone only needs to hand over the money to a fund manager, and the money will be used for investment purchases through the fund manager. Retail investors only need to pay a certain service fee to the fund manager. Compared to retail investments, this saves money and energy and reduce the investment's risks. The emergence of ETFs on the basis of funds is equivalent to giving the funds the function of a stock, allowing the funds to be listed on the trading platform like a stock and can be traded freely. ETF is an index fund, that is, a basket of stock, which can be understood as a package. When a user invests in ETF, it's equivalent to purchasing each product in the package. Such a basket of stocks can effectively prevent investors from stepping on thunder, disperse risks, and save time in researching each stock. So after talking about ETF, Bitcoin ETF is easy to understand. It's a Bitcoin-based trading platform trading funds. If you buy a Bitcoin ETF, you are indirectly buying Bitcoin. What you have is a fund that you can track Bitcoins. Not that you own Bitcoins, but the returns are the same. If the price of Bitcoin rises, the price of the Bitcoin ETF will rise. On the contrary, if the price of Bitcoin decreases, the price of Bitcoin ETF will fall. People may have thought here, what's the point of Bitcoin ETF? Actually, a Bitcoin ETF serves two purposes. The first is the investment threshold has been lowered, attracting a large number of retail investors. These retail investors usually refer to people who are interested in Bitcoin but are limited by computer technologies like the wallet, MetaMask in crypto. And the second reason why there is ETF is to provide institutional investors with a channel to invest in Bitcoin. It brings more entry funds and generates more demand for derivatives. For example, through Bitcoin ETF, traditional funds companies can also hold Bitcoin indirectly. Investors buy a traditional funds, and the funds manager of this funds can use part of the investor's money to buy a small part of Bitcoin ETF. In this case, it's equivalent to investing these funds in Bitcoin. And recently, the entry of the Wall Street old money into cryptocurrency has triggered a wave of gains in the market price. Although for the industry, BlackRock's spot ETF application is a huge positive. However, some practitioners in the crypto do not support BlackRock's applications for spot Bitcoin ETF. According to the rules of Bitcoin ETF, the fund's company is responsible for buying and storing the physical Bitcoins and creating the corresponding ETF shares for trading on the stock exchange. So therefore, the Bitcoin ETF is only used as an asset to track the price of Bitcoin. Investors who's buying a Bitcoin ETF is equivalent to indirectly investing in Bitcoin, but what they own is tradable Bitcoin fund shares and not directly Bitcoin itself. So this against the spirit of crypto to some extent, which is your keys, your Bitcoin, and if it's not your keys, it's not your Bitcoin. In addition, the well-known KOL Autism Capital believes that the BlackRock's choice to launch ETFs under the regulatory pressure of SEC may mean that the SEC may be conducting a cleanup operation. The goal is to clear the so-called low-level liars in the crypto industry so that the elite giants of traditional American finance can rebuild the game rule and platform according to their rules. And Gate Live will also hold a roundtable discussion tomorrow night to discuss investment opportunities for retail investors after Wall Street entered the market. And welcome to pay attention to it. And next, let's focus on another hot topic in crypto recently. as the Ordinals protocol on the Bitcoin blockchain continues to heat up, innovations based on the Ordinals protocol have begun to emerge endlessly. More and more developers have invested in this innovation revolution. And recently, Ralph, the new chief developer of the Bitcoin protocol Ordinals, merged the recursive inscription update, which is number 2167, into the Ordinals protocol on GitHub, and finally officially updated and launched recursion in the new version. Then the concept of recursive inscription was born. According to the interpretation of the well-known KOL Leonidas of the Ordinals, recursive inscription refers to a new way of inscription on the blockchain, which can realize mutual reference and calling between inscriptions and inscriptions, independent and unrelated embarrassing situations through the composable features open up the possibility of free combination. Simply put, a recursive inscription is an inscription requesting the contents of other inscription through a special syntax. After adopting the recursive inscription, users can use a smaller amount of code to reduce the capacity of the inscriptions. That is, create an inscription on the Bitcoin blockchain at a lower cost and realize more complex functions. Immediately afterwards, the trial version of the first interactive recursive experimental inscription, the project called Recursive Playground, topped the list of the homepage of Bitcoin inscription platform, which is ord.io. Clicking on the inscriptions, user can interact with it through the mouse, and the experience is similar to that of decompression games, which means that the inscription NFT has developed from a one-way view of the user to a real-time two-way interaction through the mouse. And Recursive Playground is the first interactive recursive inscription NFT project. As its beta version shows, users can change the state of the screen by simply dragging the mouse. Let the inscription NFT change from static and eye-catching to dynamic and real-time interaction, so that collectors can also become the co-creators, and they can create their own works based on this. At present, the Recursive Playground project party is still relatively mysterious and has not disclosed the launch time, price, and total amount of its related NFT products. The project's party only announced an interactive NFT trial version and some photos. Although the Recursive Playground trial version is only the first show of the interactive recursive inscription NFTs, it cannot deny its importance as an NFT milestone. This is not just an interactive attempt, but more of a possibility verification. And our understanding of NFTs is no longer limited to the two-dimensional world and the three-dimensional attributes of NFTs have been verified. That's quite exciting. And what are the current interactive recursive inscription projects? Let me introduce three more. The first is the Speculum, Atenum, and Miraculum. It introduces variables of mathematical equations and times, which is block hat, and the color of the butterfly changes as the Bitcoin block hat increases, realizing the interaction between machines. The second one is Recursive Dudinos. This project provides the basic attributes characteristics of NFT series, and players can make NFT by DIY and then engrave it. According to the official introduction of the project, Dudinos is the first recursive art collection completely created by community. Community players can do DIY graffitis on it, and all element features support positions, zoom, and rotation functions. And the SVG files generated by DIY will be burned in Ordinals. Every player's graffitis will have the opportunity to be included in the collection series. According to official data, more than 128 SVG files have been recorded on Ordinals. The third one is called Webland. This project is the first high-definition series of the original 10K large collection realized through recursions. It is the first to realize the random appearance of different PFP static high-definition pictures in a single inscription. So it realized that the randomness on blockchain. Every time the page is refreshed, a brand new avatar will appear, and up to 10,000 can be randomly selected. This is completely impossible to achieve before there is no recursive call. At the same time, there will be a mystery box on Bitcoin in the future. Okay, so in summary, as Recursive Playground explained that Bitcoin is art and canvas or a computer. The generation of interactive recursive inscriptions breaks the limitations of capacity and playing for the creators of Bitcoin ecosystem and makes the Bitcoin network completely become a creative paradise for users where they can create unique SVGs, websites, and artworks with just a touch of the mouse. Users have changed from the simple collectors to creators, and the real metaverse also requires the construction and creation of every metaverse users. Interactive may provide another possibility for the realization of metaverse in the future. At present, the first interactive recursive inscription has only been online for a few days, and this concept has just caught people's eyes. and more interactive ones are being brewed and developed. Every great technological change stems from people's pursuit of future technology. So, can interactive recursive inscription lead to the change in Bitcoin ecosystem, or is it just a short-lived hype? We will wait and see. Okay, so that's all topics for this crypto TV show, and hope you guys will like it. And see you next week. Gateway to crypto. You can trade over 1,400 cryptocurrencies safely, quickly, and easily on gate.io. Okay, thanks for watching. Okay, see you next time.